There's those little pieces of tape. Snap it in. Like you saw earlier when we were fussing with the sub and it was making that clacky sound, it no longer makes the clacky. So much better. Actually, it's funny because the last Bronco we did, the customer pointed that out to us. He's like, all over the forums, they talk about how rattly this thing is. It's the only thing I hear when I'm driving down the road. And I was like, I'll have Fernando look at it. If anyone can fix it, it's this guy.
Fix it. We'll fix it, guys. Don't worry. Bring all the Broncos over here.
Totally. Alright, it's time to do some PC work. First thing I like to do is disconnect my speaker wire output plug. That's one of the nice things about doing this style amplifier is that you can just disconnect them all. You don't have to worry about anything happening. You can also just unplug the RCA or unplug the subwoofer here if you're worried about this doing anything strange. There's a process, a workflow as it were, that we're going to kind of go through real quick that I like to do when setting up for something like this. The first step is assigning all my inputs and outputs with their corresponding names. Drivers front, drivers and passenger front, drivers and passenger rear, subwoofer. These are what are coming from the Amp Pro. These are the channels on the amplifier they're going to. Tweeters, mid bass, rear, subwoofer. You can see them correspond over here. You can change the colors if you want to. The next step is going into tools and hitting up mixer assist. This is going to allow me to set up where I want everything to go through. Front, left and right, obviously those two need to be clicked. And then my rears, this is my up mixer here. I'm going to run my rears through my up mixer so I can get that rear effect. So that means I need to turn on rears over here to connect to these lines. The next step is turning on these two here. These are going to be for my mid bass. It's going to run through the feature called Super Bass, which is a mid-range extra magical EQ that sometimes you need in order to make your mid bass have a little bit more impact but not as much rattle and stuff like that. We just like to run it through there in case we need it. These two dots here are for my subwoofer because I'm only running channel 5 in, but I have a dual RCA going out to the subwoofer amp. These 4 dots here are for my tweeter and mid-range coming off of inputs 1. These 2 dots here are for my mid-bass. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and my 2 subwoofers are coming off over here to my subwoofer outputs. Channels 11 and 12 are not used. This is a really important feature. We've talked about it in other videos too. You have to get this one set up right in order to make sure all your sound is going where you need it to go. The next step is coming into crossovers. This is where labeling your channels becomes very helpful. You see the colors here. So I have my tweeter, my mid-range, my mid-bass, rears, subwoofer. If you click these green icons when you're switching through, it'll just mirror this crossover point for, let's say, the left down to the right, so you don't have to do everything twice. The next step is going to be going back into tools, going to the plot. Plot is going to allow me to take a look at those crossover points that I set up to make sure that I got them right. If I click the top G here and I have crossover highlighted, it'll show me those. If I unclick them, I can do one at a time, so I can check my tweeters, make sure they're both correct. Both my mid-range, one at a time. This is important because it's real easy to accidentally screw one of these up and then you get along into the tune and you're like, what the heck is going on here? So that shows that they're all good there, and there again an overview of that. You can do a lot with the plot, so keep that one in the back of your head. Heading over to delay next. We pre-measure our driver's front seat to get all of the measurements so we know right where to put it back to in the end. Fernando goes through and writes in all my numbers, and we have some actual testing that we need to do. This is just more safety precaution stuff just to get this stuff out of the way. Then we can get on to what we really need to do, which is tune it and whatnot. Grab the PT9A pluses. We'll go into the radio, we'll do balance and fader. So down here in the software, we've turned off all the speakers except for the tweeter. And now we'll do a polarity check, and you can see our tweeter is going green, green, red. Now what you want to do is test all of the speakers, and if you have a 24 dB Linkwood Riley crossover, they should all be going the same direction. Now if you have a 12 dB Butterworth crossover, more than likely the mid-range will be 180. So if they're going green, green, red, that should go red, red, green. That's a whole nother conversation to have, trust me on that one. The Linkwood Riley is the better move, and that's what we have. Maybe up front we'll also have to test one more thing. Playing some pink noise, we're gonna go into the EQ settings on the radio, go to the sound settings, go to the balance and fader. This is the most important thing that a lot of people screw up. Go ahead and drag it around. Make sure that the 3 speakers are playing over there. You can mute them if you need to. I can hear mine going on over here. If you notice, we took the grills off. It just made it easier with the tweeter. You really have to get up on that thing in these early stages before you start to set gains and stuff. Your rears, make sure that they're both working the way they're supposed to. They are. And the nice thing about this Ford is this little button right here that says reset. That puts everything back in the center. The other thing you have to do, of course, is make sure your subwoofer works, which it does, and that's easy enough. Play some pink noise. Make sure you have coming out of it. Now that we know that everything is working the way it's supposed to, meaning all the speakers are moving, everything has got sound, everything's got polarity, we need to tune it. But before we can tune it, we need to put the car back together again, because yeah, you can be rest assured that having this off, there's outside noise. We want to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. Put the floor mats back in. Everything that came in, well, okay, not the trash and stuff like that, but all the interior needs to go back into the car. Back of the car is all put back together. This is our access hole, so I can reach down in here, pull out our DSP wire. There is a cover for that, which I'll show you in the very end. Close it up. The one thing that you need to deal with is this piece of plastic right here. If you're adding a subwoofer to the door, yeah, this thing just rattles. This is a common thing for this. I've seen people that have like done the floor in these things. I think just doing every panel inside of this car would probably be the best bet. There again, it's a Bronco. It's like a Jeep. I don't know what you're hoping for. What we do to this panel is just some simple foam all the way around.
Yeah, this one actually holds the metal, so if you put foam, you know, pushes it up, so it gets tight. And this is the outside, this is the inside.
Do you put fuzzies on here, or are these okay?
I'm going to put some JK tapes, the fuzzy ones, in the clips right here, and just when it snaps.
Let's talk about our tuning process and how we deal with something like this. There's a couple different ways to do it. Do what you're comfortable with. This is ours. The first thing we do is we mute all of the speakers by using the mute all feature here, and then I unmute the passenger front tweeter. And I start tuning it and working it and doing all kinds of fun things with it. This is not how it started, but this is how it ended up. After we get done with that, the cool thing is you just take a screenshot of it on the DMRTA, and then it'll ghost the image into here, and next you're going to work on the driver's tweeter. And if you'll notice, when you look at the ghosted in image, the volume on this is lower, and the reason for that is it's the closest tweeter to you. We're not worried about that until we get into the car. So when we started out, these two were perfectly level, and also this was much more smoothed out. The thing you have to keep in mind is that when we do the first EQ, we're trying to get this flat. We're removing something like this peak, but we don't know how it's going to sound once we get it in the car. Once you get into the car though, things like this start to creep back in, because you realize that by removing that energy, it doesn't necessarily sound as good as you thought it might, because you were just looking at a plot on an RTA. So as we move through, you make minor adjustments here and there to add back in or remove things that are causing issues. And when you're all done with this portion of it, this is, you know, you're just doing a very plain thing, and that's just kind of leveling everything out. And then you hop into the car. The ARC Audio has center point, which allows you to start adjusting levels, which is this page right here. And as you'll notice, all the levels are different. Center point is a cool feature that allows you to move the signal left and right equally. so that as you're increasing one, you're decreasing the other. That is in the hopes that you have your delay and everything set up properly. In all of this, you can do a group delay. So we did a group delay on everything to adjust it to the subwoofer, because the subwoofer in the beginning turned out to be the farthest thing out, and originally we weren't going to add that in. And we can do an A/B comparison, making a preset with an adjustment and without, and then we can A/B between the two while we're in the car and see, does adding the delay to the mid bass actually enhance the subwoofer? And it did. It made the soundstage open up, which was great because Fernando was freaking out about that. So sometimes when you're looking at the RTA, you come up with some weird stuff that this looks good, but it sounds like crap in the car. So you have to go back in to the EQ and start adjusting things. In this case, the cool thing about Link All Channels, which is located here, is now I can go in and I can make an adjustment on one page and it'll adjust all of the other pages. If I wanted to remove something, I could go in and remove it and it would do left, right, rear, sub, the whole thing. If I didn't want the subs in it, because like why would I want them? I could just come over here, click those two off, and now they're not in my adjustment. So you can go in and you can make individual adjustments, group adjustments, pick your group adjustments, and all those lead to, this is a starting point, this is the ending point. Spend just as much time here as we do here. Or vice, we spend just as much in time in here as we do here, because you never know. You know, you're just looking at a graph, and the graph, it can't see subtleties between there. And like, I know someone's gonna look at that and go, Jesus, that 6.8 is, yeah, well, it was flat, and guess what? It didn't sound good. It sounded lifeless and bland. We had cut it substantially. That's not a boost, that's actually just the natural tweeter. It's a focal, let it be a focal. The other thing too is using your levels to adjust between the tweeter and the mid-range, mid-range to mid-bass, tweeter mid-range to mid-bass, front to rear, sub to everything. All of that has to be done from this seat right here, or that seat, it doesn't matter. It has to be done from inside of the vehicle. It looks really great on the plot, but then it has no life when you get in here. Making subtle adjustments between the tweeter and the mid-range and so on, like I just said, makes a huge difference in sound. The really cool thing about this car is that there is no speakers in the doors, so you could actually listen to it with the doors open if you wanted to. Let's find some DRM-free music, and we'll see what this thing sounds like. Fernando, let me ask you, does this thing just tear it up, man?
Oh, 100%.
Are your ears ringing?
What?
Exactly. Dude, this thing is serious. It's crazy loud. A couple of things to think about that we may have done different had it been designed by us. The first one would have been the rear speakers. Though I love putting matching flax front and rear, it's pretty cool. Fernando and I both agree that sticking with the smaller 4-inch in the pod and taking the money that we spent on that and going to, let's say, some K2s up front,
100%, yeah.
probably be cool. This system works, and it
sounds amazing.
For those people that are like, I want it all to be balanced, that would have been really the only change I would have, you know, proposed. What we started with on this particular one, with what he showed up with and what we're at now, are so many miles apart. He's gonna love this. He's gonna love this to pieces. One other thing that we need to do now that we're done with the tune is here in the back. The wheels on here are blue. He's got all his lift kit stuff that is blue. He added that sticker to his dash, that's blue. We put the blue in the top dash panels. The last piece of the puzzle is this guy here in the back of the car. That is the blue acrylic that we use for the front grills. It also matched all the stickers in the factory paint. With that piece in place, the tune done, the listen done, the battery charger's disconnected.
That's it.
We're just gonna pull this fender skirt off here, close this thing up, and get it off to the customer. Fernando, if you please.
On to the next one, guys.
You guys have a great night as always. We hope you love this Bronco build, and that's all we got for you. You guys have a great night as always. We'll see you later next time.
Bye.
Bye.